Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
What is up, Kids Army? It is your girl LATRICE, back at you again with another Let's Talk Military video. Today I'm here with Miss Sarah. Hey guys. She's gonna introduce herself and tell you a little bit about her channel, and then we're gonna get right on into what this video is all about.
Hey guys, I'm Sarah Jane Lambert. I am also a YouTube vlogger as well here on YouTube. A lot of my videos focus on vlogging, traveling around Europe while we're here on our deployment rotation, as well as some military videos as well.
Yay! So we kind of have the same kind of feel for both our channels. But to get to the topic of the video, we're going to talk about our perspective as women in the military, specifically in combat arms units. We're going to go over a couple of topics, and we're just going to give you our overall feedback on how we feel about being in combat arms units as women. So the first topic of discussion is perception being reality. So I don't know if you've experienced this before, but I definitely have, being that there isn't many people that I obviously associate myself with in my unit that are females, because there's not a lot of females. So have you ever experienced that before?
Yeah, so being a female, and then we are both also female officers, there's just not a lot of us in the Army. There just isn't, low amount. So you kind of have to be careful about who you hang out with, because a lot of times people will think that you are potentially having some sort of inappropriate relationship, or a relationship in general, with one of the males you're hanging out with. You hang out with them very frequently. And so you just have to be careful how often you hang out with people and who you're seen with, because people talk. Because since there's not a lot of females, if you are hanging out with someone specifically, people zone in on it.
Yes, what she said about inappropriate relationships, meaning like officers aren't supposed to have or can't have relationships, romantic relationships with enlisted soldiers. And so that is forbidden. I have to say it's forbidden in the military. So it can be perceived that there's something going on there. So the advice that I have about that is not to make a pattern of it. Just don't make it a thing that you do all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
For me, if I would give any advice about it, I would say make sure it's in groups. Like, don't be seen alone a lot with a specific person, yeah, especially if male. And just make sure if you're going out with them for like a dinner, make sure it's group related, so there's multiple people there. Make sure you're paying for your own food, and then just make sure that you conduct yourself professionally. Like, you can be friendly, but you still have to be professional about it.
Right. And then don't be afraid to be by yourself sometimes. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay to eat lunch by yourself. It's okay to walk down the street by yourself sometimes. It's fine.
I think that was something I struggled with, because I'm very bubbly and I like hanging around other people all the time. Yeah. But then once you step into that female officer role, if there's not a lot of you, you have to be careful. You have to be okay with, okay, I'm gonna go for this walk by myself, or I'm gonna eat by myself, and you just have to become accustomed to it.
Exactly. And that's a good segue into the next point. There's not a lot of females. A lot of females in the military. And then, like she said, there's not a lot of officer females either. So even though we can have these relationships with each other as officers, we're gonna get along with lower enlisted or NCOs as well, other female officers. But there's this many males and this many females, like, and for some reason they expect us to just be automatic friends.
Yes. You're gonna get along because you're both girls.
Yes, that's so it's like it's hard for us to do because of that. Like, and it's always like you're gonna be with her. Hey, go get her and do this with her and be battle buddies with her because she's the only other one. But that doesn't mean that we vibe like that. We just so happen to vibe.
Yeah, cool. We vibe. Like, I've been asked before by one of my NCOs, oh, well, why aren't you hanging out with that one girl? Just just because she's another female officer doesn't mean we get along.
Exactly. Or that you don't already have people that you hang out with. Me, friends, that's a huge word to use. So it's a built thing. Like we have to build that. Just because you got here yesterday doesn't mean we're supposed to be friends today. I don't know. Okay, but we're gonna move on to the next topic, which is our capabilities as women compared to men. So in the Army, a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of things, but we're just gonna go zero in on APFT, which is the Army Physical Fitness Test. The standards are different for females. And sometimes you'll have the men say like,
oh, well, you only have to do 17 push-ups. We gotta do 40 something odd push-ups.
And it's kind of belittling in a sense.
I definitely feel like it's belittling sometimes. But kind of what we were talking about before filming this video was that it's not really dependent on the gender, it depends on the person's like physique, their body type. Kind of like how not every male is supposed to be a ranger, not every female is gonna be a super athletic built woman. People just have different body types, how they work out and things like that. But because the standard is set to a certain length, they view all females as being that, what's the word? Standard. That wasn't good either.
I can't go figure out. That is one thing that I feel like we are subject to as women, especially in combat arms units, because in combat arms units, it's this like stereotype that everyone's all hood, and if you want to be combat arms, you gotta be thin, and all this, and be fit, and everything like that. But that should be a standard period within the Army. But it's definitely hyped, I feel, in combat arms units. But at the end of the day, she is 100% correct about it being a physical thing. Like, I've knocked out 50 push-ups before on the PT test, but my standard, all I have to do to minimum standard was to do like 19. But I far exceeded that before, so it's just like, it really is about, you know, your physical fitness and your drive. So, advice on that?
I would say that if you are a female in the military and you feel this way, or you're going to be entering the military, don't compare yourself to everyone else. Focus on yourself. So the Army has set standards, right? So you obviously need to meet the minimum, but push yourself for the maximum. And if you can go over the max, then go for it. I knew a girl, she's a female officer as well, where she meets the male's max. Like, it's insane. She's fast runner, great at push-ups, great at sit-ups. She has the body type and the discipline to reach that standard. So if that's something that concerns you, focus on yourself and focus on what you need to do to get to where you want to be.
Exactly. With that, we're gonna move into the last topic, which is about females being ostracized, so to speak, more so in living conditions, or like in your living areas. So Sarah can elaborate a little bit more on this, because I live in the all-female barracks here. We have probably like 25 females in my barrack, and that's for the whole battalion. So I personally prefer to live with females, just based strictly off of living. It has nothing to do with the military, nothing like that. I don't know, I feel like we have just this great understanding about how we're supposed to live. But Sarah here, she lives with males, so her barrack is co-ed. Want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so at the beginning of this rotation, we had an all-female bay, so we had about roughly 400 people in the battalion, right? And about 20-ish something of those are women. So we all lived in one bay. And I hated it because especially as me being one of the only female officers in the battalion, I didn't get any information flow. I always felt like things were going on and I wasn't a part of it, things that I needed to be a part of, but I didn't know about it because I wasn't there. And when we moved to a second location, battalion decided like, hey, we're gonna make this co-ed, and the top 3 in the organization would live in one bay, so like the commander, so the first sergeant would live in one bay, and then it would be separated by the platoons that live in different bays. So when that became a thing, I, once again, am the only female living in that bay. And at first, it was definitely like a really different kind of transition. We went from living with all women to now all male. But I've actually really enjoyed it. I definitely feel like I get the information a lot faster. I definitely feel like included in things that are going on that I should be included in because of the job title that I have. And don't get me wrong, sometimes there are challenges, like, you know, people are changing, like you have to coordinate it, so like, make sure everyone's covered, and you know, and like, guys snore really, really loud compared to women. So things have definitely been a transition, but I would have to say I feel so much more integrated within my unit and a part of the team ever since I started living co-ed with the guys.
That's good. Like, I feel like that, like with me and me being in a female bay, that is, especially because it's like all of the other batteries in that bay, it's more inclusive as far as females go. So like going back to topic 2, there's not a lot of us, but just having all of them there, you know, like they know my face, they know who I am, and it's just, I guess, more of a sisterhood that we probably wouldn't have if we didn't live together. But with that same subject about getting information, it just requires me to work just a little bit harder to get that type of information. But currently, I only need to talk to one person at this point because of my job position now. So it really isn't that much of a thing. But I feel like it would be, like if I was in her position, if I was the XO or a platoon leader or something like that, that it might be a lot more difficult to do because I'm separated from my platoon sergeant and my soldiers. And so I agree with you. And then I have my own side too, you know, so I definitely have no issue. Okay, so I hope you guys got some much needed information from this video. Make sure you guys go check out Sarah's channel. I'm gonna leave all her information below. Make sure you guys give this video a huge thumbs up. Comment below your thoughts on the questions, on the topics that we've discussed in this video. A quick recap is perception is reality. There's not a lot of females in the military. Standards across female and male ranks, and then women being ostracized based off of living in different areas. So those are the 4 topics we discussed today. So comment below your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, to Sarah's channel. I'm telling you, you're gonna wanna be a part of Giz Army for sure, okay? But definitely go check out Sarah's channel, and I will see you guys on my next upload. It's your girl, LATRICE. Peace.